Morning, Vicki.
Hey, good morning, Nance.
Here we are at our next episode of Conversations Over Coffee. And last month we were out at the Village Children's Museum.
Yes, we were.
Visiting with Paula, learned about the transition from ownership to the United Way. So we thought, you know, let's have a conversation with Kevin Dietrich. He's the executive director here at the United Way, and learn more about what's happening with United Way for children and families. And I love this picture of the Growmobile.
Oh,
I know
look at
we'll be
those
talking
faces.
about that and getting back into seeing that out at the parks this summer.
Well, let's find Kevin and see what the United Way has going on.
It sounds great.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
Thanks for agreeing to meet with us today.
Oh, yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, we're excited after our visit out at the village, just to hear what's going on as far as that change, but also all the wonderful things that you're doing here at the United Way. So I think I'm going to start out with just asking you a little bit about yourself, because I know you're fairly new to the program.
Yeah, my family and I moved from the Winsted area about 2.5 years ago to just south of Litchfield. My daughter and I were driving in the car and listening to 102.5 and heard Brad Hansen, who was the board chair at the time, mention that James was moving on.
Sure.
And so I thought, you know, once you're in that nonprofit world, you know, there's really 3 golden rings, you know, whether it's the United Way, Ronald McDonald House, or Habitat for Humanity. And I thought, well, I'm already working at a nonprofit, let's give it a try. So March 1st, 2 years ago, I was hired as the executive director here, and it's been a heck of a ride ever since.
The name of your organization changed a few years ago, many years ago. So now you are the United Way of West Central Minnesota, is that correct?
It is. For a long time, we had been a Candy, Ohio, or Wilmer specific community chest. At some point prior to me starting, it grew. So now our territory goes from Darwin out to Benson, all the way up to Sunburg, down to Olivia, Renville. So we've got a 5-county area now.
So many people still call it a Kendrick County, but it's more of a region.
It is a region,
area.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many of our viewers know of the Imagination Library, and some of them do not. So there's the first book that came out. The Dolly Parton Imagination Library is funded by the United Way of Minnesota. We are a partner with United Way, we meaning the Wilmer Public Schools, the Early Childhood Department, Public Health. I know also encourages people to sign up for it. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Imagination Library is and who can benefit from it?
Sure. So for the most part, the thought is let's help get kids reading ready for school. Can you spend that extra time with mom and dad sitting on a lap?
So
reading
engagement
instead of looking at phones and things like that. So each month we send out about 3,000 Imagination Library books in our territory. It's quite a few. And
how are those funded?
through all kinds of things like brouhaha. We had a raffle recently. Some of those kind of events. The United Empower Group does some fundraising, Power the Purse. So different kinds of events and just regular donations as well.
Well, there have been so many people that have benefited from it, and the books are always books that everyone enjoys, but for those little ones, just to get mail.
My son just aged out, and that was one of the big disappointments, is knowing that he's not going to be able to get more mail.
And your son's name is?
Henry.
So when Henry would receive a book that would say, to Henry Dietrich, it would be specifically to him, and it would be his book. And he's eligible from birth to 5, is that correct?
Yeah, we start out with the hardcover books that you might find with, typical babies would see. So they're always age appropriate, and we even go, with some classics like The Tale of Peter Rabbit. But then there's also a lot of fun new ones.
Yeah.
Snowy Day, exactly. So there's a lot of new ones.
Favorites.
So there's a rotation where if you've got multiple kids, ideally they won't see the same books.
Oh, great, that know of it. But if you do not know of how to sign up, what do you want to tell our viewers?
Yeah, you can go to our website, liveunitedwcm.org. That's the United Way's West Central Minnesota's website, and there's a form on there. Otherwise, just give us a call, or when we're in parades, we're at a touch a truck, in multiple communities, things like that, just ask, and we've always got these simple little forms just to fill out, and we'll get you signed up.
It takes, I think, right now about 2 months for it to start.
Generally
With
speaking, yeah.
families, yeah. So, great. All right, since we're talking about books, let's segue over to the Growmobile.
Yes.
Can you just expand on the Growmobile for us?
For sure. And we would have liked to have had it here today, but it's snowing.
Our March storm.
Exactly. So sorry about that. But the Growmobile, all summer long, I'll have 2 or 3 different interns running the Growmobile program, and they'll be at big events like Rock and Robins, the Darwin Parade, or Litchfield parades, or things like that. But in the day-to-day, starting right away in the morning, for every hour, they're hitting a different park all throughout our territory. And once there, the kids will come, they'll sit crisscross applesauce, they'll do some calendaring, they'll do some reading, they'll get to have a snack as well as a art project. And it's twofold. One, to kind of slow down that summer slide. A lot of kids, second school's out, the shoes come off and off they run. But it's also an opportunity for those with younger kids to get used to the idea of sitting and listening to a story in a larger,
A great way to prep for the next educational
Exactly.
level. So we love it. We also love that they're outside and there's green space. And another element is that it's a family event. So you do not just say this is for 2-year-olds or this is for 3-year-olds. You see moms and dads and babysitters, daycare centers, there with a wide range of children.
Yeah.
And that's what we love to see. We like to be family-based
Yeah.
rather than just home-based.
One of the kind of fun things during the pandemic, we were still able to run the Growmobile.
Oh.
We purchased just about every hula hoop in the area, and then had them
I
kids
love
sit
it.
inside the hula
Yeah.
hoops, and then each package of crafts and things, they got their own color crayons, just like when you go to a restaurant and the kids get to color on a menu. So we were still able to make it work, but it was interesting to see the solutions they came up with.
I know the Growmobile goes out in our community, but is it going to all those other regions as well?
Yeah, actually, I've already had a couple of phone calls from the city of Candy and others, Litchfield. We do spend a decent amount of time in and around here. This is the largest population base. We've got about 100,000 people in all 5 of those counties. But we do go out to Benson, we do go down to Olivia, we do hit Litchfield and other towns.
Okay, well that's good to know because that's a change.
So prior to school starting, we have the Growmobile as well as boxes throughout the community at different stores. And when you're at Target or Walmart or a smaller store purchasing school supplies, if you were to purchase an extra container of glue or crayons and put it in the Stuff the Bus box.
Backpacks, everything.
Backpacks, exactly.
Wonderful.
So we have about 22 schools in our area, both public and private, that we offer school supplies to, and the teachers come in just prior to school starting and make sure they've got enough for those kids that might not have it.
And then one last comment about the Growmobile. I love that it reduces some of those barriers of people not being able to get to schools or to programs. We're going to move on to the village.
Yes.
One of my favorite places. There are rumblings, and I think it's pretty public knowledge now that there is a partnership that has occurred. And if you want to speak to that, I don't want to misquote what is happening, but we are so excited to see the numbers that the village is bringing in and how the whole concept has just boomed in our area. But also that a leader in our community, such as the United Way, a little bigger agency, is able to take on the village. So I can't wait to see what that's going to bring.
We're pretty excited at the possibilities. As you've seen here, this United Way does quite a bit in that early education space. And a little over a year ago, Sarah Carlson from the Wilmer Area Community Foundation called and said, "You should meet Paula over at the village." So
There's a way of doing that.
exactly. So we had the opportunity to get together and just kind of talk a few things through. And the more we talked about it, the more, it sure makes sense to have a relationship there. The United Way, one of the challenges we run into is we're not the food shelf or Habitat for Humanity, because those people, exactly what they do. They build houses, they give out food. We're more of that utility player, looking for different gaps in our community.
And then like the link that brings them all together.
Exactly, and so this kind of gives us a little bit of a solid brick and mortar kind of a place.
Sure.
And from there, the Growmobile, Imagination Library, the other, Stuff the Bus, those kind of programs can emanate from there. but also we can interact with so many people there. We're really excited with the possibilities and the type of programming we'll be able to run from that.
Oh, awesome. And I like the idea of people knowing where they can come. Any timeline in mind as far as what you're looking at?
So the papers have officially been signed. They were signed at the end of last month. Now we're working on, little logo changes. Being part of the United Way, we're forced to use certain colors and fonts. And so we're working on all those kind of changes. And hopefully within the next 45 days or so, we'll have a grand opening or an open house, something like that. And we'll start to see some changes at that point. When we first started having conversations, we pulled in community ed and ECFE and Ridgewater Community College and others to say, if we have this space, what can we do with it? How can we interact with some of your programming as well? So
Exciting.
really exciting.
Very exciting. Kevin, all this information has been wonderful. I've learned a lot. I think there are a few other programs that we've not really talked about. So in closing, if you will bring to our attention anything else that we should know about.
Sure, there's three things in particular. The most important one is the phone number 211. It doesn't matter where in the United States you are. If you just call 211 and say, I need a place to sleep tonight, or I haven't eaten today, and your location, they'll look up and give you the resources in your area to help you out. So that would be number one. Number two,
So they'll link you in your
they'll
community.
link you.
I had not heard of that.
Yeah.
And was that started during pandemic?
It was actually pre-pandemic, but we've been working like crazy to keep all the information updated because there are so many new programs now.
What a wonderful, wonderful service. Okay.
The second most important thing that's happening now is tax season. So myfreetaxes.com, whether you call 211 and ask for tax help, they'll connect you with somebody, or just use the website myfreetaxes.com. The third thing right now is we have a number of internet options. Whether it's with the FCC, federal government, or MVTV, we have some cheap internet option, less expensive internet options, high speed. If you're not living necessarily in town or you're out and about, we can get you some high-speed internet at pretty low discounted prices.
Those are great resources for families. The only other program, I guess, that we haven't addressed, and maybe you can just talk for a second, are the backpacks going to be available for summer? I know food insecurity may again be an issue with the prices of groceries and gas. Do you want to just expand on that, please?
Yeah, we have two different backpack programs. One of them is a preschool readiness backpack, so every child that gets screened in our area gets a United Way little string backpack with a lot of things in it. The second one is a backpack program. It's currently going on right now in the Wilmer area. It's called the Cardinal Backpack Program. We've got one in Olivia as well as ACGC Litchfield area. And each week, typically on Thursdays, we have a volunteer drop off food, and then the teachers stuff kids' backpack with that food so that they have a reliable food source over the weekend.
And I love it because it's done in such a subtle, graceful way that people do not know what's going home, so kids aren't really identified.
Exactly.
I think that's a beautiful way to distribute. So
Yeah.
Thank you for that and for all of these wonderful programs. We appreciate your time today, Kevin, and thank you for watching Conversations Over Coffee. Can't wait to visit with you again.
Thank you very much.